Cable Bahamas has always been considered the innovator.
People can have confidence in Cable Bahamas as a mobile operator because of our past history. We've proven to the Bahamian community that we are in fact able to manage additional services as a telecommunications company.
Customers expect the best from Cable Bahamas.
The technology that we bring is revolutionary technology because we know that the Bahamian public, they deserve it, and Cable Bahamas is here to bring it to them.
We are ready. Turn us on.
The DPM and Foreign Affairs Minister fire back at Sarkis Izmirlian. This as a former PLP MP calls government's handling of the Baha Mar crisis troubling. A 4-year-old girl among 5 people shot on Key West Street. Plus, DEU officer sees $1.1 million worth of drugs. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Vonnie Toot and NV12 starts now. Topping news tonight, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis fired back at Baha Mar CEO Sarkis Izmirlian, who lashed out at Prime Minister Perry Christie in a recent radio interview and asserted Christie is not doing what's best for the Bahamas. Davis said Izmirlian is dead wrong and insisted the Prime Minister is doing the best he can. Kyle Joaquin reports.
A day after Baha Mar CEO Sarkis Izmirlian blasted the Prime Minister, saying he believes Christie is receiving some bad advice as it relates to Baha Mar, Christie's deputy, Brave Davis, rose in his defense, saying Izmirlian couldn't be more wrong. Izmirlian said though Prime Minister Christie probably thinks he's doing what's best for the Bahamas, he's not. This as Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder prepares to hear a winding up petition filed by the Attorney General, and as government seeks the appointment of provisional liquidators. However, the Deputy Prime Minister said Izmirlian is wrong.
I think he's wrong. What I do know is that the Prime Minister is doing the best he can in respect to Baha Mar on behalf of the Bahamian people. Now, whether he's doing it on the part of Mr. Izmirlian, I mean, that's for him to think. That's for him to think about.
Izmirlian and Christie have been at odds since Baha Mar filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the U.S. District of Delaware on June 29th. Well, the Baha Mar CEO took it even further Wednesday when he said the government was not putting equal pressure on all parties involved in the Baha Mar ordeal. Davis said today he knows for sure that at this moment, Izmirlian is not the focus or interest of the Prime Minister.
It's not about Mr. Izmirlian's, but the best interest of the Bahamian people, and to ensure that the project moves to where it is completed expeditiously and open shortly thereafter.
Government said on Tuesday the major point of difference between the parties is Baha Mar's refusal to provide its part of a guarantee required by China XM to secure a commitment to additional lending to enable completion of the project. Izmirlian said as it stands, it could cost $400 million to complete Baha Mar, which is said to be 98% done. Though the second round of talks in Beijing, China have failed, Davis said he expects a positive outcome. Whenever an agreement is met, Izmirlian said the resort should be ready for opening 3 months after. Also chiming in was Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Fred Mitchell, who, while addressing the United Nations Security Council, spoke to the negative implications a failed Baha Mar could have on the Bahamas' economy. Mitchell said the Bahamas faces now a threat which is existential to good governance, the realization that a single investor can, if not properly managed, seek to destabilize the governance of a country by its dominance of the economy and by deliberately and improperly interfering in the local politics of the country. The Foreign Affairs Minister had previously stressed the importance of Baha Mar's completion and success, saying it is too big to fail. The hearing of the winding up petition is set to begin in the Supreme Court before Justice Ian Winder, Friday at 10 a.m. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
However, not everyone supports government's decision to file a winding up petition against Baha Mar in the Supreme Court. Marco City MP Greg Moss, who resigned from the PLP last month, told NB12 today government is very misguided and its actions could have dire consequences.
But the way in which it was handled was troubling.
One day after Baha Mar CEO Sarkis Izmirlian lashed out at Prime Minister Perry Christie and asserted he is not doing what's best for the Bahamas, Marco City MP Greg Moss asserted he is troubled by the Christie administration's handling of the Baha Mar crisis. With more than 2,000 jobs at stake, the independent MP says government was wrong and misguided when it filed a winding-up petition against Baha Mar, seeking to bring it under the control of the Bahamian courts.
We are very misguided to simply be snubbing our nose at those proceedings and to be going down a direction where at the end of the day we're talking about an outcome which involves a foreign direct investor for substantial investments in the Bahamas being deprived of its property. I think that has dire implications for the future of investment in the Bahamas.
Baha Mar has likened the winding-up exercise to an attempted nationalization of a private investor's assets. Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder will hear the winding-up petition on Friday. The Attorney General filed the petition in the Supreme Court nearly 3 weeks after Baha Mar filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the U.S. District of Delaware. Ma said that was the wrong approach and asserted there is a significant difference between liquidation proceedings in the Bahamas and Chapter 11 proceedings in the United States.
In the Chapter 11 proceedings, we're talking about preserving the asset and preserving the asset for the investor, subject to oversight on how to deal with existing debts. In involuntary liquidation proceedings in the Bahamas, we're talking about selling someone's property. And that is troubling that we see that, at least as a government, as preferable.
A 4-year-old girl is in serious condition in hospital tonight after a gunman shot her in the head. Police say 4 others, including a 7-year-old boy, were also shot last night during that incident on Key West Street. Dana Smith has the details.
According to Chief Superintendent Paul Roll, who was at the scene last night, the group was standing by a tree near the road when a lone man, armed with a handgun, approached the group and opened fire.
We know that 5 persons were shot in the process, including a 4-year-old toddler who was shot to the back of the head. He is presently listed in critical condition right now in the hospital as the medics are trying to save his life. A 7-year-old male was also shot to the left foot. His injuries do not appear to be life-threatening. And the other 3 adults were shot. The adult male was shot to the back as well as his right leg. And the female was shot to the right leg. And the 3rd adult male was shot to his hip and left leg.
The incident took place here outside this apartment complex. The mother of the 2 young victims recalled hearing gunshots and lifting her child out of a pool of blood.
When the shots went off last night, after I heard the shots, I dropped low and I stand in the front of my children and cover them. After the shots stopped and I get up and I stand up and tell them let's go. When I get up and I lift up my baby, I lift up in a puddle full of blood. A puddle full of blood. We dropped right here. When I roll over and I pick her up, she's in a puddle full of, she's in the blood. She's in a puddle of blood.
The 2 young victims were identified by their mother as 7-year-old Shavargo Major and 4-year-old Micaiah Major. Micaiah was listed in critical condition last night, but according to her mother, she is showing signs of improving. Major said her daughter started talking again today and her son was discharged from the hospital last night. But despite the good news, Major still questions why something like this had to happen to her family.
I don't bother nobody. So I don't understand why. Why it have to be her? Why it have to be my children? Why it have to be innocent people who ain't doing nobody nothing? I don't understand why, but
I'm sure it must be a very emotional experience for you.
It's an eye-opener.
It's unfortunate and unacceptable, you know? And it just shows the disregard that people have for basic life. And we have to, let's say it as it is.
Police already have the suspected shooter in custody, as well as his girlfriend, a woman who police believe may have played a role in this incident.
We believe this incident stemmed from an argument that had occurred earlier today involving a female resident of East Street. We believe that resulting from that, this incident happened.
Rolls said officers of the flying squad took both the woman and the suspected shooter into police custody a short while after the incident occurred. With the shooting taking place just outside the apartment complex she lives in, Major added she no longer feels safe in her neighborhood.
I ain't trying to move. I ain't even trying to hang up here. Because, like I said, I got to lose. All two of my children last night, I got to lose one, I got to lose two. Is I open my eyes, tell me, the environment I live around, I have to get out. The people I speak around, I have to get out.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Dana Smith.
Police have arrested 3 men and 1 woman in connection with that $1 million drug seizure at a home off Carmichael Road. Shortly before 11 last night, a team of officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit, assisted by Police Marine Support Unit officers, executed a search warrant at the home where they found over 30 bales of marijuana and a quantity of cocaine. 4 people found inside the home. That's a 39-year-old woman and 3 men ages 41, 27, and 23 were taken into custody. DEU Chief Superintendent Sam Butler said the older man and woman live in the house. About an ounce of cocaine was discovered on the property, in addition to 1,164 pounds of marijuana.